Well, we are into another early morning Lahore long range carp. What we're going to do, hopefully if I get this one in, is go through the correct way to get them out of the water, weigh them up and photograph them, because that's when the damage happens, when people get the fish out of the water. You can snap fins, take scales off, rip their mouth, and you've seen us using the weigh slings to get the fish out of the water. We're going to talk you through all of that because we want these beautiful, beautiful fish to stay pristine the whole time. Just trying to lead this fish in away from the other lines. Because we're fishing our lines so tight here, we're trying to get the fish to actually go under them. Right, so that feels quite heavy when I keep in contact with it. The other lines are, the fish is reasonably close now, but I can see it's underneath the other lines, so. Big chunky Lahore mirror. Another one on the IQ2D rig. Come on fella, easy does it. Easy does it, in you go, in you go. Got him! Wicked, another one on the IQ. Right, I've already zeroed the weigh sling. This is one of the Armo retention slings, absolutely brilliant. The water just drains straight through these, so I've got it wet, zeroed it on the scales, and I'm now going to transfer the fish in the net and then into the weigh sling. So let's just break the net down. I just left the fish in the edge while I was doing all that, and it was perfectly fine. Important not to rush everything at this point. Just take it nice and slow. So just drop that in the water, that's going to float. I'm just going to get down and slide the fish into it. It's important when you're rolling the net up, don't roll the line into it, because you can drag the hook out of the fish's mouth and rip the mouth. So let's just slide that in like so. There he goes, into the weigh sling. Perfect. Oh. Okay, that's all good. I'm just checking his fins are nice and flat against his body. I'll just do that with my hands as well. Just check there. Yep. Yep. I'll just zip that front up. Okay, get that out of the way. So the two together. And over to the mat. There we go. Also guys, if you can keep the rod off the floor, there's less chance of somebody else treading on it. So, let's see what we've got. Look at the thickness of that. Whew. Now the hook is still in. If you want to see this hook hold on the IQD rig. I don't know if you can see that in there. Absolutely nailed. Let's just take that out. Out she comes. Nice and easy with a barbless. And we'll get that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to take my watch off first because you don't want to scratch the fish with that. Just roll my sleeves up a little bit. Right, I want to get him out of the net and into the sling. So roll him over towards me. Right, mate. And I'm just going to lift him up and get the net out of the way. There we go. Like so. Okay, zip the ends up. Right, these on.
That one's filling the sling, mate.
Yeah. It's a big one, mate, I tell you. Right. So put my foot on the end of the weigh bar, and then it's important to hold the weigh bar at the very top so it doesn't bend it. Just keep him over the sling.
It's a big one, mate.
Yeah.
53 and a half, I'll give you for that.
Nice, wicked. Right, back down onto the sling. You'll notice as well that we've not lifted the fish right up off the ground, just above the unhooking mat, just to get the reading, and then the fish is back down again. And also the weigh bar, I'm holding it at the very top. It's a mistake a lot of people make, they hold them here and they end up snapping at the top, and the fish can crash down as well as breaking your weigh bar. And if you haven't got one of these Signet ones, I strongly recommend them. They are really, really good. Wet my hands right up before I pick him up. Right, before I pick him up, I'm just going to check. I mean, the hook was perfectly in. There's no damage to the mouth whatsoever. I'm just checking that now. And I would use the Carp Care kit if there was a tear or anything. There's one for the mouth and one for the body. Just put a little bit on the hook mark if it was a tear. I check the body as well, and if there was a sore or something there, then I just dry it off with a bit of kitchen towel and apply the body part of the Carp Care kit to it. Just squeeze that on and just rub it in and let it soak in for a little bit before I put the fish back. But this is absolutely perfect, so it doesn't need it. So slide my hand down the head of the fish, get around that fin. That's going to help you to grip it and hold the fish still. And then the other one, my thumb just comes down there and sort of grips the spine of the anal fin, and then up she comes nice and straight. There you go, the fish is not rolling forwards or backwards. My right hand is supported by my knee, and even though it's 54 pound, I mean it's playing for the cameras, this one, it's staying nice and still. But that's the way to pick them up. Slide your hand down the head, get your thumb around the anal fin, and then pick them up like that. And if it starts to flip, I just roll it back onto my forearms like that, and then you can lower it back down onto the mat. Sometimes when they flip, it's because it's obviously dark in the water, it's very bright out here, and I think it's startling for the fish. And also if the fish is very cold and your hands are warm, it's going to feel very hot to them. So they're the sort of things, if it's flipping a lot, you can roll the sling back over the top of it, just darken it down, and then always make sure obviously you're applying water to the fish all the time, especially if it's hot in the summer. So let's lift him up again, slide it down his head, round that peck there, and then up she comes, and nice and straight. Perfect. To apply a bit more water, obviously make sure that's out of the photograph, just off to the side there. And then you want to be checking your background. So obviously we've got lovely green trees behind. It's a little way behind me, and the camera's set on the portrait setting, which is the face. When you're turning the dial around, it's the face setting, and what that will do is blur the background, so it makes the front really pin sharp and that bit a little bit blurred, and it just makes everything jump off the photograph. So let's lift him all up again, chill, just rolling back towards me. If they are flipping a lot, if you put your hand over his eye, just darken him off a bit. That sometimes helps. Oh. Chill. A little bit more water. Okay. And there she is. So before I transfer him back into the water, I'm just going to check his fins are flat against his body. That's flat under there as well. Last thing you want is the fin bent back. You pick up 54 pounds of fish, you can easily snap a fin. Just make sure everything else is nice and in line. And I'm going to transfer it into the water. Damien's already waiting in the water, and I'll put my chesties on and do a couple of returning shots.